Okay, so today we're going to evaluate expressions with exponents. Now, read this quote. Simplicity boils down to two things: identify the essential and eliminate the rest. Okay, by Leo Babauta. Okay, now this is a nice saying that applies in real life. Okay, you want to make your life simple, just focus on what's important and remove the unnecessary. Same thing in math, guys. Look at this. In math, you have to identify how you can use the rules of exponents. Check out the problem. Is there something which is more important, which is to use the rules of exponent? Okay, and then eliminate the unnecessary process. If you do this, everything will be on task. You can do the work in a simple way. So first, word is evaluate. The math word is evaluate. When you are asked to evaluate, you are asked to substitute a number. All right, substitute, like in basketball, you get tired, right? Somebody will substitute for you. If the teacher is absent and nobody's gonna teach the class, the principal will send a substitute. Now that substitute will be replacing the variable. The x, y, and z's will now be represented by a specific number. If the x, y, and z's are now numbers, then you can perform the operation. Okay, remember SVP, substitute, variable, perform. Now, before you perform the operations, you have to remember or recall or memorize the exponent rule. We remember the product rule, remember the base of a and the exponent of x and y. What do? We simply add the exponents. Okay, so x plus y. But when you divide, you simply subtract the exponents. Check it out. Now, the power rule is an exponent with an exponent. Don't worry about it. Multiply the exponents. But the base is the same, of course. Now, the power of a product rule is just to distribute this x outside. A gets a portion of that. B gets that too. You multiply it by whatever exponent it has. Okay? So the power of a fraction rule also relates to distributing that x. X goes to the numerator and x also goes to the denominator. Now, the zero exponent, anything to the zero power, as long as a is not a zero, is always equal to 1. Even though it's 1 million to the zero power, it's always equal to 1. For a negative exponents, okay, math teachers do not want to see a negative exponent. So what do? They change it into a fraction wherein 1 is on top, 1 is the numerator over the positive power now. Okay, remember this, and this will make your life easier. So in this first problem, we need to solve for the value of the expression. Value means, what does it mean? Simplify the exponents using your rules. Okay, so don't be scared with this. Whenever you see something in a parenthesis, it's better to simplify whatever you see inside first. So you're multiplying the same base. Do you remember what to do when you multiply the same base? Yes, you add the exponent. So write down the negative 3, write down the positive 6. Let's add them up. Oh, by the way, the bracket, we're not using it. Copy it. The bracket and the square, there's not used yet. Copy it down. Okay, so these two I can now add. That becomes 2 to the positive 3. Okay, but you're not yet done. It's an exponent with an exponent. Who remembers? Do you remember that? Will I add or will I multiply these two exponents? What do you say? Yes, you will multiply them, not add. So let's multiply them. So 3 times 2 is a 6, 2 to the 6th power. But that's not the final answer yet because we want to know a final value. a final number. So if you multiply that, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and you'll get a 64. So don't be scared with that. 64, this big expression over here, simply means the number 64. Okay, good job. Okay, next we have another one. Now, a lot of fours and a lot of exponents, right? It's so confusing. Simplify it first. So let's do that now. What is the value? So let's simplify our lives. Okay, now check this out. Power of a power first. Can you see that? Okay, let's organize that first because it's kind of messy. So will I add or multiply? I multiply, correct. So let's do that first. That becomes 4 to the 8th power. See that? And the rest, I simply copy the 4 beside that. And then the bottom, okay, copy whatever you have at the bottom. But now, let's work on the top numbers. Let's multiply them. That is 4. Remember, if there is no exponent, there's a hidden 1. So remember that? Okay, so let's multiply the top by adding the exponents. Remember, even though it says multiply it, you add the exponent. So therefore, 4 to the 9, 8 plus 1 is a 9, check. And then 4 plus 3 will be a 5, check. Okay, good so far. Now, what is the fraction? What does that mean? A fraction means division. So therefore, divide. When you divide, what do you do with exponents? You subtract. So therefore, 9 minus 5 will be a 4 to the 4th power. And 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 is 256. So don't be scared. That's the answer. This long expression simply has a value of 256. Okay, good job. Okay, for this problem, we are asked not just to simplify, but to evaluate. Okay, what do we mean by evaluate? Evaluate means you substitute and solve for the final value. So they're telling you now, instead of using A, I use negative 2. Instead of using B, I use a positive 4. Okay, so first of all, when you substitute, you're tempted to substitute the numbers immediately to the letters. Don't do that first. My suggestion is to simplify things first. How do I simplify? Again, use your exponent rules. Remember the product of a product? Okay. Can you see that 2 outside the whole parenthesis? That means that 2 will be distributed to negative 2. That 2 will be distributed here. And that 2 will be distributed to B. Okay. Each of them will get the times 2. So let's do it now. Negative 2 to the second power, A already has a negative 2, write the times 2. B already has the 3, write the times 2. Okay, we just distributed it. Any question? None. Okay. So we can now solve the exponents. Let's work on these exponents. Let's work on these exponents. So negative 2 times 2 is a negative 4. 3 times 2 is a 6. Okay, don't be tempted yet. Let's evaluate. Let's look first. So you could see that there's a negative exponent. Again, warning, warning. When you see a negative exponent, you have to do something about it. Okay, no negative exponent. Write your fraction bar. And where does a to the negative 4 go? Do you remember? It goes under in the denominator, correct? A to the positive 4, correct? And what happens to this one? Since your exponents are positive, you simply stay there. All right. Now it looks simplified. Therefore, we are now ready to evaluate. So instead of writing B, let's now plug in the 4. Instead of writing A, let's now write the negative 2. So let me rewrite that. Oh, but by the way, this one you can already solve. The negative, there is no parenthesis, therefore the negative just stays there. This 2 squared is a 4. Okay, so that's a negative 4. Now, instead of writing B, we said it's going to be a 4 to the 6. Instead of writing A, the value of A is negative 2. So negative 2 to the 4th power. Okay, now we are ready to simplify the numerator and the denominator. Let's look at the first one. Negative 4 stays there, negative 4. But 4 to the 6, you can multiply now 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Or use your calculator, you'll get 4096. Negative 2 has a parenthesis. Therefore, negative times negative times negative times negative, you have 4 even, the result will be what? Positive. All right? So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16 positive. Okay, we're good so far. So you can multiply now the two numbers on top. But yes, you can simplify this, but we'll skip that process. You can simplify the negative 4 and 16. As I said, we'll simplify that process. And then that becomes negative 16,384. Positive times negative is negative. Then divided by a positive 16. All right, divide the 2 and you'll get negative 1,024. So again, the final value after evaluating is this one. It's not scary anymore. It doesn't look like this anymore. It boils down to a single number. All right, that's evaluating. Are you ready now for more practice? Okay, here we go. Your turn. So for these practices, pause the video, copy the problem, solve in your scrap paper, then to check, play the video again. Are we ready? Okay, pause, answer. Okay, ready? Here we go. So substitute, simplify before you substitute. Yes. So 3 stays there. The 4 stays there, no movement, no change for you. But the a on top and the a below, same base, I can simplify. A to the negative 2 minus 1, right? And then 3 and 0, division. Division means to subtract again. B to the 3 minus 0. Okay, let's simplify this exponents. 3/4 is still there. U2 will become a negative 3. U2, 3 minus 0 will be a b to the third. Whoa, warning, negative exponent. What do I do? Put it under. Okay, yes. 3 to the fourth, you go under. There you go. But b to the third is still up there. All right. Now it looks simplified already. Now we're ready to substitute. Instead of writing a, I write 2. Instead of writing b, I write 3. The one in blue and the one in red. So 3 times 4 times at the bottom, a is equal to 2, therefore 2 to the third. And b is equal to 3, therefore I will write 3 to the third. Okay? So do not multiply these two yet. Work on the exponents first. Remember, order of operations, work on the exponents first. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay, we're good so far. We can now multiply the numerator. You'll get 81. Multiply the denominator, you'll get 32. Since you can't simplify that anymore, you could leave it as a fraction. So this expression with exponents has a value of 81 over 32. You can actually change that to an improper fraction. Okay, last. Pause. Solve now. Ready? Solve. Okay, are you ready for the answer? I already gave you a hint. Work on this first. So that becomes, simplify the one with the same basis. Since that's division, copy that first. 4 and 2, you will subtract 4 minus 2. 5 and 7, division means you will subtract 5 minus 7. Okay? But remember, all of them is to the second power. So the second power stays there. We'll do that later. Okay, now work on the exponents. So you're still a 4, you're still a 2 to the third. 4 minus 2 is 2. And then 5 minus 7 is negative 2. Okay, oh, you saw something already. Okay, let's finish copy the whole thing first. This is a warning, warning, warning. Okay, negative exponent is not allowed. Therefore, you go where? You go under. All right, let's write it down. 4 is still there. Let me just simplify this now. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay. X, since you're a positive exponent, you stay there. You're a negative exponent, you go under. There you go. It looks simplified now, right? Now I'm ready to, oh no, you're not asked to substitute. So simply leave it that way to the second power. What's next? That second power, remember a power, that should be distributed to each of the factors, whether it's on top of the numerator or in the bottom of the or at the bottom, yeah, the denominator. So let's write it down so that, oh, let me just simplify to make our life easier. It's like the lowest terms. 4 and 8 divided by 4 divided by 4 is 1/2. So let's write down 1/2 instead of 4/8. Do you agree that 4/8 is equal to 1/2? Yes. Okay. So x squared will get what? Is still the same. Y squared is still the same. And then second power. Remember, we just simplified that fraction. Now we're ready to distribute this one to each of those factors. So that becomes 1 squared, and then 2 squared. X squared will be 2 times 2. Y squared will be 2 times 2. 1 times 1 is 1. We know that. Remember, the exponent disappeared because we distributed it already. So 1 as a numerator, that's this one. 1 times 1 is simply 1. And the x, okay, the bottom will be what? 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Now, let's work on this. That becomes x to the fourth and then y to the fourth. Since you're not asked to substitute any value, that's your final answer. Okay? So this big expression looks scary, but simplified, it's the same as this. Okay? Did you get it right? Okay, good job. Rampage Math, don't forget to comment and to like the videos. Bye.